Hi, this tutorial is to help you get through the exercise space poster. It's kind of putting together all the things you already know about Photoshop, and there may be a couple things you don't yet. So I'm going to quickly go through the things you already know and spend some more time on the things that you may not know. So the first thing you want to do is download this exercise space poster zip, and then we're going to rename the exercise folder last name, first name, space poster. Oh, look, here it is. There we go. And I'm going to open it up on my desktop here. Inside, you're going to find the sample folder, sample file. This is the Photoshop file that we're going to really reconstruct. So I'm going to double click on it to open it. It's a Photoshop file, so it will open right in Photoshop. And I can see how it's organized. I want you to organize everything the same way I have in here. And I'm going to take a look at these one at a time and reconstruct my poster on a different canvas, just like this one. And before we do that, let's go take a look back inside here. If you need to load the fonts, and you'll know when you open it whether the fonts are loaded or not, you can load these on your PC or Mac. It'll work on both. And then we have the art source. So these are all the pieces necessary to make the space poster. So let's go back over here. In fact, let's go back over here, and it says to start with a new document, 1600 by 2400 pixels at 150 ppi. Okay, let's do that. So it's file, I'm sorry, yes, it's file, I'm not sorry. File new. Usually I go right to print, and I'm going to change this to pixels, and I'm going to type in 1600, tab 2400, come here to 150, and that should do it. So there's our new space poster. It's untitled right now, so we want to save it. So here's our space ad, and this other tab we have space poster. Okay, so let's see what it says. It says save your file in your renamed folder and name it last name, first name, space poster. All right, so let's do that. File, save as. We're going to call it last name, first name, space poster, and we're going to save it right inside this. So if I double click that, now I'm right inside here, and I'm going to save it as a Photoshop file, and I'm going to leave embed color profile turned on. There we go. So now this is my poster, the one that I'm going to build, and here's my sample one that's going to show me how to build that poster. So let's go back over here and take a look at a couple more things. So you're going to use the supplied source art file, that's the file I showed you with all the pieces in it, to duplicate the space poster. Be as detailed and precise as possible. Refer to the completed sample, which I have open already, to understand any unfamiliar techniques. Avoid destructive editing. Yes, please, let's do that. There's one special case in here, and this is different from all the other pieces that you'll be putting into the poster. We are going to do something special with the spaceman image. So when we get to the spaceman image, I'm going to come back here and do these instructions step by step. So I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to start taking a look at this, kind of reverse engineering it, if you will. I'm going to poke out the eyeballs on those three, and I just drag down the eyeballs to make that happen. I'm going to flip open the twirly arrow to find out what I have inside this folder. What I have so far is a blank piece of paper and one color correction or adjustment layer. So the paper is the one I want to start with on my other one. So I'm going to go grab that right now. It's right here, and I'm going to click it and drag it to the Photoshop icon and let it go. And there it is. So in this case, I'm not making an outline or anything. I'm just throwing it into the background. So I don't need to mask it here. So I'm going to say select all, Command A. I'm going to copy, which is Command C. I'm going to close the window because it's already in my clipboard and I don't need it anymore. And I'm going to make sure that I'm on my build, and I'm going to Command V to paste it. So now that I'm here, as long as both of these are set and I'm viewing them at 50% or whatever fills the screen the same way on yours, I can flip back and forth and kind of see if it looks right or if it doesn't look right. In this case, it's not quite right. If I look at the source, I have a darker edge all the way around. If I look at mine, it's dark on two edges and not so dark over this way. So I'm just going to click on it and with the move tool, and I'm going to notice, oh, yeah, it's dark all the way around, but it's too big. So if I'm going to scale this to make it smaller, first thing I'm going to do is make it into a smart object. So I'm going to right click here and convert to smart object here. Now I can transform it without being destructive. And I'm just going to slide down here, maybe Command minus to move out, and just drag that up here. And I'm going to, yeah, I think that's good. I'll move it over a little bit. I'm using my arrow keys to nudge it over just a little bit, and I'll say OK to that. Command plus to get me back. There we go. Now if I flip back and forth, it should be much closer. Ah, yeah, I'm liking that a lot. So the next thing I want to do is save. Every layer that you make, please save. So Command S or File Save. All right, maximum compatibility should be turned off. That is just to make it play better with other Adobe products, and we don't need to do that, so we're going to say OK. All right, now I'm going to come back over here and take a look at this. Let's figure out what this is. When I turn it on, it makes it darker, so it's some kind of adjustment layer. To find out, I'm going to click on this little icon, and I'm going to look in my Properties panel to see what was done. First, I know it's a levels correction because it says so right here. The next thing I can look for is what has changed in here. And right here, this shadow has been set to 34, and the midtone section has been set to 0.8. So I'm going to duplicate that. Oh, also the highlight has been dragged in here a little bit too. So this is set to 218. So let's see if I can reproduce this. 34, 0.8, and 218. I'm going to come back over here, come down to the black and white ball. My adjustment layer is going to be levels. It'll pop open my properties dialog box, and the first one was 34, which I can type in or I can just drag this over. This is 0.8, so I'm going to drag it that way till it's 0.8. And this guy right here was 2 something or other. Let's say it was 215. I'll have to pop over here and see what it was. 218. Okay, 218 then. So there we go. If I turn this on and off, I can see that it darkens that. And if I go back and forth, they should look very similar in color. Yay. All right, let's move on to the next thing. And I'm going to come back over here. And I'm noticing that this is all put in a folder called Paper Background. So let's do that. Let's put those two things in a folder. To put things in a folder, I can make a new folder just by clicking this, but then I have to drag each of those items that I want into the folder. But if I shift select the 2 things or the 5 things or however many things I want in there, so shift select, and then I hit the folder, it automatically pops those things into the folder for me, and all I have to do now is to rename it. So I'm going to double click, rename the folder, Paper Background. I didn't name this paper, so I'm going to do that. Double click and call this paper. And now I'm done with my first folder. Yay! All right, I'll be back.